If you're a little bit curious about using microdosing of a perfectly legal psychedelic mushroom to help you achieve healing in your body, well, your body, mind, and spirit, then this show is going to be super interesting. This is Wellness by Design. I'm your host, Jane Hogan, the Wellness Engineer, and my guest today is Rael Inshan. And he is an expert in this mushroom called Amanita muscaria. I think that's it. It's a legal mushroom. Anyone can order it, but using a tiny, tiny microdose can help you just put that thinking mind aside, access other parts of your mind to achieve physical, emotional, and well, spiritual healing. All right, I think you're really going to love this episode. Tune in and make sure you get the gift that Rael has for you. All right, I'll see you inside. Rael Inshan, welcome to Wellness by Design. I'm so happy to have you here today.
Thanks for having me.
I'm really curious. So, I have never taken a mushroom in my life, one of the psychedelic kinds. Um, and I'm just really, really curious about this. And I know there's a lot of people curious as well. People in my audience, they have pain, but I think most people that are part of my community understand that nearly all physical pain is emotional pain that's manifested as physical pain. And how do we get at those emotions? I mean, I have ways to do it, but I'm really curious about how mushrooms can help. And this particular mushroom that is called Amanita muscaria.
Amanita. Amanita
Amanita
muscaria.
muscaria. Okay, thought I had it right. All right, so let's first of all tell me a little bit about your story and how you got involved with this mushroom.
I had chronic pain and chronic insomnia basically my whole life, and there didn't seem to be anything I could do about it. I tried every medicine and every
Mm.
pharmaceutical and therapy and everything, and just nothing worked. I had PTSD, I had chronic fatigue, I had a chronic parasite infection in my intestine. It was just bad. Everything was bad. And
Mm.
one day I was living in Brazil at the time. This was a long time, this was many years ago. And I went to this mountain range where I was just sort of being a tourist and snapping photos and just sort of like doing my thing. And then I stumbled into this forest and I saw that it was full of these red mushrooms. And so I started collecting them. And soon after that, I realized that this was like, for me at least, the what healed me of insomnia. Once I figured out how to use it, I never had insomnia ever again. And so, for having insomnia for 20 years straight, and then to just be relieved of it was like a miracle to me. It was
Yeah.
amazing. So I saw this as like an amazing, fascinating thing, and then I decided it was my purpose to bring this to the world. So I moved back to the U.S. and I uh, decided to become a professional mushroom forager, which is a pretty hard life because I had to live in a truck and go out, travel all around the country trying to find these mushrooms and make a business work at the same time. But now here, a few years later, I have my own microdosing company, so I make microdose supplements, and I also teach people how to heal themselves through prayer.
Hmm. Okay, let's talk about that. How does the healing through prayer and the microdosing with I'm assuming mushroom, how does that work together?
The Amanita will open up a person's subconscious, so it will allow you to go into a deeper aspect of your own mind, and from that deeper place, it's much easier to see where it is that you need to adjust your perspective and what you need to do to heal.
Okay, so it's kind of like I think a lot of times what stops us from accessing our subconscious mind and those emotions that are often below, right? They're in the subconscious, they're not conscious, is our ego kind of gets in the way, right? We
Right.
can't let go of that rational thinking mind, and the subconscious is subconscious. So how so the mushroom helps with that. And how does it do that?
Well, it gives you a deeper perspective. It brings out the subconscious. So if you take psilocybin, it will expand your conscious mind and all of your ideas and like your general thinking and creativity skills. But Amanita will actually bring you to things that you don't even remember, things that are, from your distant past. And it will even heal things without you doing anything. Like it's actually like an automatic therapy. And so that's because it's neurogenic. So it's able to redesign your nervous system to make it run more efficiently. And as it's doing that, it's healing you by default, simply by having your system not fall into, pitfalls of thinking and memories that don't serve you. It's actually healing you.
Yeah. Because actually, the nervous system is responding most of the time to what's below the conscious mind anyway, right? We don't even really know.
It always is.
Okay. So, all right, let's get so how many what are some stories I knew obviously you healed yourself. I know now you work with this. What are some stories or what kind of things have you seen, happen to people as a result of doing this?
I've seen, amazing healings that are kind of unbelievable. In myself as well as in other people. Amanita is able to heal neurological disorders. So there are reports of it healing things like autism, OCD, Parkinson's, PTSD, and things that there's basically no medicine for. So it's a fascinating medicine that really needs to be studied more. And it's also completely legal. You can buy it, you can ship it across international borders. There's no issues. So it's amazing that people don't know about it because it can heal so many things and it's such a powerful medicine.
Wow. Okay, so is it a medicine that someone would just take once and that would be it? Or, do you have to kind of do it for a while to get the results? How does that work?
Take it as a microdose. I don't ever recommend someone taking it as something more than a microdose.
Okay.
Uh, Microdosing just means like a small amount you take like at night, and it gives you really deep sleep. Amanita increases REM sleep. I've had clients that will start taking Amanita, they get like 15 to 20 minutes of REM sleep. And then after taking Amanita, they're getting 90 minutes. So that much increase in REM sleep is a massive difference for how much healing you get for your body, right?
Hmm.
So if you do that for a while, you could be significantly healed in just a few months compared to how you were doing before.
Hmm.
So the REM sleep is one big factor, but really what it's doing is Amanita is, as I was saying, healing things that you're not even aware of in your own system.
Yeah. And when you say micro, I mean, I know nothing about this. What is a microdose? Like, how does that even look? And how do people take it? Like, what is it?
So a microdose, it's best to take it as a product, not as an actual mushroom. A lot of people
Okay.
try to take the actual mushroom, but it takes a lot of preparation and know-how to make it to prepare it correctly. It's not deadly. If you Google it, it will say it's deadly. That's not true. There are no cases of someone actually dying from taking it unless they've force-fed themselves raw mushrooms in the forest. So like if you go and you eat the raw straight out of the ground without any cooking or preparation and you force feed it, you can have serious health complications. But
Okay.
if you cook it, then it's safe. So I like to tell people it's about as safe as chicken. If you don't cook the chicken, yeah, you could get really sick. So as far as a microdose goes, it's just about an equivalent of 1 to 3 grams, and usually you want to take it as a product like a tincture. I make microdose concentrate tinctures as well as chocolates, and I partner with a company that makes tablets that are really easy to take. The tablets are probably the best product because they give you a really deep rest and a relaxation of the mind and body, and it's already preserved in a way that you don't have to do anything. It's shelf stable.
Hmm. Hmm. Okay. And all right. So, can anyone, you said it can be shipped across borders, so anyone can order it and have it shipped. I'm in Canada, for example.
Right.
Would someone be able to order from you and have it sent to Canada or any state?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's pretty much you can ship pretty much anywhere.
Okay. Okay. Wow, that's really cool to know. So, I've heard sometimes with other because I know some other practitioners that do microdosing of psychedelics and things, and they say you should never take it like without supervision. Would that be the case with something like this, or
As a microdose, you're completely fine. Like you're not going to have an issue. You don't need supervision for a microdose. Taking a microdose is not going to harm you. It's going to give you a very easy experience, easy to manage. If you're taking it as a microdose, you'll usually get a little bit drowsy, but you can still operate like a vehicle and drive and you still function. And if you take it in doses over 4 to 5 grams, that's when you start getting into intermediate doses. A high dose is 15 grams or more, and I don't recommend anyone doing that. I've done it plenty of times, and I'll just say that it's not really productive. It doesn't really heal you. It doesn't really benefit you that much. So there's really not a point in doing it. What you really want to do is be taking doses that are like 1 to 3 grams in a low dose, and then using that time for meditative practices to heal yourself.
Okay, so it's not like just take it and forget about it. Do you shift into a different state, like a altered state somehow, and then you use that time?
Yeah, so I mean, it will put your mind into a deeper place, and it will cut off a lot of your repetitive thinking. So a lot of the reactive, repetitive thinking that we go through is just stopped by taking a microdose, and so it gives you the opportunity to grow when you take it.
Hmm. And so then you would use that as meditative time. And is there a particular way or guidance that you would have for that type of meditation?
Yeah, so I actually teach courses on this. I have what's called a microdose coaching course where I teach people what to do, how to heal themselves while on Amanita. And that's done through what I guess you would call spiritual lessons, with the primary lesson being that all healing actually comes through forgiveness. And this
Oh,
is something
so
that,
true.
yeah,
Yeah.
this is something that is in our culture is completely not acknowledged. So if you watch any movie, TV show, whatever you're looking at on the screen, you will never see this occur of someone like being like, "I forgive you," and that being like this beautiful part of the movie of or whatever. Like never really happens. It's always about revengeance or about recovering what
Yeah.
someone took from you or victory over the enemy. There's never this. There's always a battle, right?
Hmm.
Forgiveness, no battle in forgiveness. So when you come to forgiveness within yourself, you have stopped the war in your mind over whatever happened to you in the past. And so that allows you to have peace, which is better for you. So forgiveness isn't really about, oh, I need to like do this to someone else. Forgiveness is about you doing something for yourself to benefit yourself so that you can have a
Exactly.
more peaceful life, you can have a more loving experience, and you can grow and move on from wherever you're at.
Yeah. And your body can let go of that tension that it's holding from the lack of forgiveness.
It's much more than tension though. It's more than physical tension. You know,
Yeah.
it's a spiritual problem. Like if your mind and energy is focused on something that you can't change, you will feel powerless. And then the more you do that, the more powerless you become, and eventually you get to the point where you're completely powerless, and then you can't heal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and we're taught a lot of powerlessness in our culture, really, especially when it comes to healing our body. We think we got to go to someone else, right? Okay, what would someone do so they get this so they wouldn't just take it and kind of go to sleep. They would take it and have a guided experience or whatever, something that they might be doing with you to have this deeper spiritual experience as part of it. Is that right?
Yeah. So what we do in the microdose coaching course is people taking on a microdose, and they're given activities to perform while they're on the microdose so that they can learn the skills that I'm talking about. Like how do you forgive? Like what does that mean? Like, it's a deep process, right? It's not so easy to do. And
Mm.
what does that mean? And how does that affect your life and all that? So there's a lot of aspects to it that have to be covered kind of in depth. And so with the Omni to Microdose coaching course, they take the microdose and then they do the activities. And we meet once a week via Zoom call to give another class. And each person also gets personal access to me so they can ask questions and have one-on-one coaching sessions.
Mm. Okay, I love that forgiveness is part of that. I think forgiveness is foundational to healing.
I
For
think it's the
me,
only way. I
what's
think there isn't.
that?
I think there is no other way to heal. I think it's the only way to heal.
You're right. Like that's where I came in my own journey too, that it wasn't until I really let go of those things from the past that I was holding on to knowingly, unknowingly, that it really happened for me as well. And I didn't know about microdosing back then. So would you say it's sort of a faster track because it helps you access that ability to forgive more easily?
Well, what I would say is that your mind is going to center around the emotion that you have, and people don't realize this. Like your logic actually doesn't come from logical things. Your logic is trying to resolve whatever emotion you're experiencing. So if you have a certain emotion, that is going to continue vibrating and resonating within your system until you relinquish it and don't have it anymore. And the way that that's going to happen is your emotion is going to you're going to have an emotion, and then what people do is they form a justification system around the emotion, which we usually call refer to as an ego. And so you have a justification system as to why you have this negative emotion, what is it, anger, fear, whatever, hopeless, and whatever your negative emotion is. And so to let go of the emotion is to heal from it. So how do you let go of the emotion? You have to forgive the things that caused it, right? And so there's always some deeper cause that's like, oh, this emotion came because I was abused or because this person betrayed me or whatever. Right. There's lots of bad things in the world. I understand.
Mhm.
But you can't heal unless you forgive. So there's no point in doing something else. You can't move on unless you do that. So we have to forgive to be able to come to a place of peace and truly find what it is that that we need to be.
Yeah, that's so true. Can you tell us a little bit more about your own experience, Rael, that you had? Because I know you've got that book your book as a gift to give to the audience, and I know it was a deeply spiritual experience. So do you want to share a little bit of that?
Sure, yeah. So I have written a book a little bit about my life. It's basically a book about how I got into very high dose psychedelics, and that was my way of trying to understand spirituality. What I did was extremely dangerous, and I don't recommend it to other people. But basically, I tried to discover everything there is to know about life through high dose psychedelics, and it brought me into a place of really deep meditative understanding of my own existence, where everything is much more flexible than we think it is. Before I had done that, I was in a very absolutist kind of thinking where everything seemed very rigid and sort of impossible to change. But when I realized that what we really are is consciousness, we're not a physical body. Like
Yeah,
you're made out of consciousness. What a soul is, right?
yeah.
That's what's written in the Bible. It says you are made in the image of the Creator. So you're a piece of consciousness, and then all of the consciousness combined, which is everything in existence, that would be God. So when you understand it this way, it gives sort of a practical understanding of spirituality that is much more easy to manage for people, I think.
Hmm.
This is how I came to understand spirituality, and I've evolved a lot since then. I know, obviously no longer preach high dose psychedelics, but yeah, it's a story of overcoming that was almost impossible to achieve.
Mm. You know, it's hard to wrap our heads around this, and I believe this to be true as well. That actually, it's not really just a theory, right? That everything is consciousness, that we are actually consciousness that's just, expressing through a human nervous system and in this physical body. Um, so it is being proven by quantum science now. I mean, but it is hard for our human brains to get, to grasp that concept. Um, how do you explain that to people?
That's actually talked about in my book. So
Hmm.
basically, what's happened is that our science uses what's called reductionism to study things. Reductionism is a process of breaking a phenomena into smaller pieces and then seeing how those smallest pieces interact with other phenomena. Now, this type of thinking works for physical phenomena, but it does not work at the quantum level because
Yeah,
quantum physics works differently than that. So
yeah,
you can't use this system once quantum physics is discovered. So the breakthrough of human civilization to the next step of whatever it is in our evolution will come from the deeper understanding of quantum physics, which is going to happen when people let go of this outdated and obsolete reductionist practice of trying to understand things through reductionism, and they finally step into the fact that attention is the source of existence. So that being the case means that the way that something is perceived makes it so, and that's a completely different science than than reductionism can lead you to, right? It's because it's not based off of physical phenomena; it's based off of the observer's actions and the way they use their attention. So it's a totally different way of perceiving and understanding the world, and I do talk about that a little bit in the book.
yeah. And do people understand that concept more easily after they do this microdosing, would you say?
Yeah, for sure. Because I mean, everything I teach and everything that Amanita can show you is about how you're using your own attention, right? Like we're just here talking about forgiveness and how forgiveness causes healing. Well, that's not just emotional healing; it's also physical healing.
Yeah.
That's the way by which I managed to heal myself of chronic illnesses and a bunch of other things. I had no ability to forgive before I discovered psychedelics, and then over eventually was able to find that it is through forgiveness that we can have peace, and that's what the goal of life should be, right? To have peace and happiness. Like what else would you want other
Yeah.
than peace, happiness, and love? And I mean, that's the core of the experience. The other things you want externally, okay, whatever they are is whatever they are. But the core of your experience, you would definitely have to have those emotions at the core. So it doesn't matter what you have externally if you don't have those things. So then, there's no point in pursuing something else really.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I mean, there's so many people who think I've just, if only I get the big house or if only I get the car or I go on all these trips or all that. And then they get those things. Some people do get those things and they realize they still feel empty inside because they're not really resolving those kinds of, they're not at peace. As you said, they're not at peace with themselves. So I do believe that too, that peace is really the feeling that we want. We want to feel at peace. We want to feel like we are enough. We want to feel like we are enough. And so people are seeking that through external ways and not seeking it. And I think, I wonder what you think about this. I think that a lot of people that come to me with pain, it's because they haven't been able to achieve that and they are still not feeling at peace with themselves. And that is what starts to manifest as physical pain or other problems in the body. So
Yeah.
what are your thoughts on that?
Well, all of the physical body is made through the spirit, in truth.
Yeah,
So your soul, whatever is going on inside of your mind and the deeper aspects of your consciousness, that's causing your physical body to be one way or another.
yeah.
And will accumulate into layers. So if you have, something unforgiven from your childhood that's traumatic, that accumulates into a belief system and then into a behavioral system, and that evolves into what you would experience as an adult, 20, 30 years later. And you're still dealing with the same initial problem of a lack of forgiveness that came from something that was 40 years ago, 30 years ago. And so we have to there has to be on the earth, must be an era of forgiveness in order for humanity to heal. There is no other way for us to improve as a society or a species, and this is truly the future. We have to do this, or we're not going to evolve as a species. And so the things that people think are important, whatever it is, your money, your relationships, your whatever, none of that matters in relation to what I'm saying. None of it. Because if you don't have at the core of your experience peace, you're not going to have a peaceful experience. It doesn't matter what you have. It doesn't matter what you get. You'll never have peace. It doesn't matter. So
Mhm.
for people to adopt this, what happens is that when you start forgiving, your body gets into a deeper state of peace, which brings healing, and then your immune system can recover and start to operate properly and become more balanced. And the deeper you go into that, the more your physical body can heal. And I personally teach prayer healings because I have personally experienced healing that was instant because of prayer. And I have seen other people be healed of things that were impossible to heal. And they were like for example, I've seen people that had metal rods inserted into their back, and they were healed instantaneously through prayer, literally in a matter of 15 minutes. The metal rod is gone, it vanishes.
The metal
Can
rod is gone.
yes, that level. Like cancer is disappearing, paralysis being erased, like stuff that we would call impossible. It's just normal in the circles that I run because that's what we understand. Everything is through prayer and everything is consciousness. And if you don't accept this, then you're going to be stuck at the level of the physical mind, which means that you're dependent on whatever some doctor wants to tell you. And how many people? It's a joke that people still do this. Why do people still trust doctors? The level of money, time, energy that they'll drag you through to try to extract some sort of an answer of how to heal you. It's absurd. People are still using that system. It's so crazy. And after the whole pandemic, I'm amazed that people still trust their medical system. So people need to heal through prayer. It is the best way to do it. And if you're not willing to heal your mind, your body cannot heal.
Hmm. I remember hearing Deepak Chopra say, the mind creates the body. And kind of when I first heard it, thinking that he was like it was figuratively speaking as opposed to literal, but I think it really is literal. Like it is consciousness that's expressing and creating this physical manifestation of us, of our consciousness, of whatever you want to call it, consciousness, spirit, whatever. Yeah, and I've seen things too. I see things happen pretty quickly as well. So let's talk about how people like, how do they get this? And what would be, if someone wanted to do this, what would be their next steps?
So if they want to get Amanita, they can find it on my website. It's amanitawarrior.com. I'm the Amanita Warrior. So omnitowarrior.com is the website. And just send me an email or find me on Instagram. Amanita Warriors is my Instagram. And they can just send me a message and order directly. And that's the same for the Amanita Microdose coaching groups. So if they want to sign up for a coaching group, they just contact me. We have a quick phone call so I can explain what it is and how it works, and then they can sign up for it.
Okay. And you've got a gift as well for the listeners, watchers, listeners. And I know it's your book, so we'll have the links and stuff to share that with them. So that book is about your experience, you said earlier, your experience with psychedelics.
Yeah, it's kind of a full my experience with psychedelics as well as sort of my general philosophy on what's going on the earth and the issues that have caused it and sort of why things are this way. It's a kind of as complete as I could get first version of my own autobiography.
Okay, yeah. And I think you're so right that, we are all uh sort of fractals of the of everything else. So we have to heal ourselves, and in healing ourselves and in coming to peace with ourselves, then we're doing our part, right, for the rest of humanity, earth, whatever, the rest of this experience that we're living in. I remember my daughter doing she did this peace speech when she was in grade 5, and she had a little line in from that, and I don't know if she got it from someone else or where it came from, but she said the speech was about peace, and she said, if it's to be, it starts with me. And I think that was so wise. It
Yeah.
begins with each one of us, right? So you've been talking about a way that we can achieve that peace within ourselves, and I do believe that within that peace is how we can let go of pain and heal our body. So what would you say, Rael, if if we were going to talk about one thing that someone could do today that's going to just begin to initiate healing in their body, like a little baby step, what would that baby step be for you?
The baby step for starting with healing is to slow down. Uh,
Okay.
the body can only heal if it has enough space and peace, if it feels at rest. If your body feels like, if it feels as if it is in stress, then it doesn't prioritize healing. It prioritizes survival.
Yeah.
So you have to allow yourself to come into a state that's in a deep state of peace so that you have the chance of deeply healing. And there's no other way to do that than to slow down your life, whatever way that means. So to giving yourself space, giving yourself time. If you live in an urban area, this is very hard to do because urban areas are actually designed to stress you out. I mean, everything, the power lines, the way the buildings are made, they're all ugly and they're these squares. Like so, in nature, there's no squares. There's no
Yeah.
straight lines. There are no straight lines in nature. That is a human invention. So for people to be surrounded by things that are completely unnatural all the time, it makes them sick. Just the shapes. Not even talking about all the pollution and all the noise and all the other problems that's with cities. So to spend time in nature is important for healing. To be able to just do the like really simple, really, really simple things. Drinking water that's clean, that isn't full of metals and estrogens from the circulating in the water system. Like just clean water, nature. That's the easiest way to start healing.
I love that. Is there anything we haven't covered today that you'd really like to make sure the audience knows?
Yeah, you are responsible for your existence. So you've been given an existence, okay, and you cannot change that. It is impossible for you to ever stop existing. That's how consciousness works. It is indestructible. So your system can never be destroyed. The only thing that can change is the content of your experience, not the experience itself. You will always have an experience even after you die that is not changeable. So whatever your experience is during this life, that will evolve into what you experience after death. And so you have to start taking responsibility for what you're experiencing right now, because if you don't, you're not going to like what you get next. And that's really important to remember, okay, that you will exist forever. This is already an eternity. Time doesn't work the way that we were taught.
Yeah.
And if you want to, yeah, right. And if you want to have a good experience, start by trying to learn how to forgive and be at peace.
Love it. Rael, thank you so much for this conversation today. It's very different, and I know it's going to be probably cause a lot of further conversations with me and my students and my audience. So I'm really excited to share this with them. So thank you so much for being a guest on Wellness by Design today.
Thank you so much for having me. I really enjoyed it.
All right, take care.
Thank
Peace.
you.
Peace.
Peace.